my name's Grandad.
Hello everyone, welcome back. This week we're onto the curtains, blinds, porthole bungs. I've also separated this video into 2 episodes, so you'll see the first part this week and then the second part next week, because it is so long. So this is all the different fabrics I've got for the different windows, and so you'll be seeing me. I'm going to try and talk through the curtains and blinds and how to do them if anyone wants to have a go at doing them themselves.
Roman blind time. We're making some Roman blinds. We put some material on there and we screwed it in.
Are you eating your apple?
And we put some Velcro on. We put some eyelets on. 6. Why can't this be the Millie channel?
So as Millie said, we're going to put the Roman blinds onto battens, and I'm just covering the battens. Now you can get proper kits to put Roman blinds on, but I've always found that there's always problems with them. I've never used them myself, but I've fixed many for a lot of people, or taken them down and put just normal battens on. So we're going with this way. It's really simple, really cheap. I cover my battens, but you don't have to. You can paint them, or you can leave them as wood if you want. And then I attach the Velcro onto the outside, and then the other side of the Velcro, the female side, will be stitched onto the blinds themselves, and then you just hang them that way.
It's about the same, isn't it?
So the rails that we're using in the bedroom and bathroom from IKEA, Betty Dlig.
Yeah.
And we're using brackets for the bottom. Another IKEA thing, Narrowboat. And we're using their extendable poles as well, but we're taking the smaller pole from the middle and using it as the bottom rail. We've chopped off this part of the bracket on the ones we've used in the bedroom to use as a spacer on these. So on the bottom, because there's a frame around the hatch, we needed to bring it out from the wall a little bit, and this just done the job.
So this one's going like that there then?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll just put a couple of pencil marks in this then.
So we've had to put the brackets slightly odd. Yeah, Grandad's not happy about it, but if we put them equal, they hit the between a groove.
Yeah.
But how I can manipulate the curtain, you won't even see that.
No.
It's only about 1 centimetre, Grandad. That'll be alright.
I just don't have to look at it ever.
Because if we also move this one over to this side, it's where the run of our electric light run is, so we can't put it there for obvious reasons. Hey Grandad.
Obvious reasons, I mean.
Oh, that's why I ain't got no hair.
It's too hot for this, Nanny.
It's roasting. It's just so humid. That's the problem.
We're off them now, aren't we?
And then on this window, we haven't had to add any any spacer behind it, so these can go flat against the wall with no problem with the curtains fitting behind it. So once that's cut, it'll be tight against there, won't it?
Yeah.
Great. So just the cutting down and the ends putting on. Okie doke, time to measure and cut the fabric for the first Roman blind. So the first measurement is to get the width and the length. This is going to be sitting over a porthole, so I want it sort of either side of the frame around the porthole. I'm adding 2 centimetres on the top for the turnover. I'm also just going to put a dotted line 5 centimetres down from that, and that is just the 5 centimetres that I'm allowing for the blind to sit on the batten. It doesn't really need to be there at that time, but I've drawn it in anyway. Then on the bottom I'm adding the hem, and it's going to be 19 centimetres. The reason why I'm doing 19 centimetres, I'm going to do it as a double turn, and the first turn I'm going to do 9 centimetres and the second turn I'm going to do 10 centimetres. The only reason why I'm not doing 10 and 10 is because I like to have a little space between the double turn up. And then 2 centimetres either side for the turn-ins, the side turn-ins. So I thought I'd explain it on paper first, but now I'm going to do it on the fabric anyway, so you'll be able to see what exactly I mean. Once I'd measured the width, I added the 2 centimetres that are going to be for the turnovers either side, and I've cut that out already. And now I'm working on the hem. So I'll be adding a 9 centimetre and a 10 centimetre for the turn up of the hem. You can choose whatever size hem you want. I always find sort of like a 10 centimetre hem is quite nice. It's sort of giving that sort of heaviness, a bit of weight to the bottom of the blind. Even though there's going to be a bar in that to keep the weight down, it does give it a sort of a nice structure. So once I've added the actual 74 centimetres, which is the full drop of the blind, I've added the 2 centimetres on top of that, and that 2 centimetres is the turn for the top. I then cut the excess away.
Here comes Rosie in her bright red dress, smoking hot. I do confess she's on fire. Rosalie is on fire. Oh, Rosalie is on
So I made my lining 1 centimetre either side shorter than the main fabric, so the same as the width of the main fabric minus 2 centimetres, 1 for either side. And I've also cut it longer in length. You need to allow for the pockets that we're going to do next. So I've got 4 pockets in this one, and they're all 4 centimetres in size, so I need to add at least an extra 16 centimetres onto the end. Now the fabric's cut and all the turnings have been done, we can work out the size of our pleats. So the first thing I'm going to mark is the 5 centimetres that I've allowed on the top, and that's for the Velcro to go on the back and it to sit on the batten. The finished length of the blind, including the 5 centimetres, is 74 centimetres, so that's the full drop. And I want 4 folds in this blind, so I'm just going to divide it up for the 4 folds, and they're where the pockets are going to be for the rods. So each of the rods will link up to the next. So this rod will link up to the top. This rod will join that one will join that one, and that one will join that one. So as the rods touch each other, there'll be a fold in between of the fabric. So the dotted line is just where the folds will be. At the bottom you've got like the remainder, and that's the bit that will tuck under that lower fold. So the next bit is a little bit of maths, so I'll have to get the calculator on for this bit. First of all, I've got to deduct the 5 centimetres from the full drop of 74. So that leaves 69. So we've got 69, and we need to divide that by how many folds we've got. And because we've got the 4 folds, and we have to count the last bit as a half, so we're going to divide it by 4.5, 4.5. I'll add that one up, and that comes 15.3. Now we don't need the 3, we can either round it up or round it down, and you will start to manipulate that number to get the pleats right for what you need. So I'm going to do it at 15. And if we just put 15 against each pleat, it becomes a little bit clearer. And then add those up, which comes to 60. I can do that one without a calculator. And work up from 60 up to the 69 leaves 9. So I'm going to do that last one, 9. Now on a basic Roman blind, that bottom piece is usually tucked underneath and hid by the first pleat. So that half of that 15, the 7.5, that bottom piece really ideally needs to be 7.5 or less. So when it's pulled up, it's hid behind that pleat, only comes up to that middle bit where the dotted line is. I want my pleat to hang lower. I want the bottom piece to hang lower than the pleat. So 9 is okay for me. Because we're doing the hem 10 centimetres, I'm going to pinch a little bit from the 15s to get my 10. Just so I'm not putting a rod in the hem. But for the purpose of showing you how to do it, I'm going to keep it as 9. So I'm going to do this on a scrap piece rather than the lining for the blind, just so it's easier for you to see. So if this was the real lining, the ends would be, the side edges will be already turned under. And we just mark the 9 centimetres up for the first one, and then we add another 4 centimetres for a rod pocket. So when that's folded, you've got like 2 centimetres going up, 2 centimetres going down. On some of them I do 1.5 going up, 1.5 going down, but again for this blind I'm doing a rod pocket at 4 centimetres. Lost my gist then. So then I measure the 15 from where the stitch line is going to be, that pin to the next pin, and then add my 4 centimetres. Again, make a new rod pocket. So you can stitch these as you go along if you want, or you can pin them all, but if you're a beginner I would say stitch each one as you went along. So I'll just show you 3 for now, but on the real blind there's 4. So this is the lining now can go back onto the main fabric. So the edges are turned under and all the rod pockets are stitched. And you make sure that you've laid the lining under the hem, making sure that you've got your first measurement at the bottom. So in the case of the measurements I was showing you, that was 9 centimetres. Because my hem is 10 centimetres, my first rod pocket is slightly higher. So once that's all in place, you can hand stitch around the edge, and this is how I do it. It's so the stitching is blind, you can't see, you won't be able to see it. So I'm being careful not to catch the fabric, the right side of the fabric. So I'm just catching the folds on each of the lining and the main fabric. You can see I'm also doing quite big stitches and quite loose stitches. I'm not pulling it tight. And the reason I do that is because the 2 different fabrics have a different weave. So the lilac on here has got a much more open weave than the lining. So when they hang, the lining won't drop as much as the linen, the lilac linen. So having it, if you done the stitches really tight or done them on a machine, they tend to get a little bit of puckering at the side. So that's the reason why I prefer a loose stitch and it done by hand. I could go up and stitch the end of this rod pocket closed if I wanted to at this stage, but I'm going to do that afterwards. And then once both sides are done, I do exactly the same with the hem, and I attach the lining onto the hem. So it's all on now, and the rod pockets are still just free. They're not stitched down, they're just left sticking up. And I can put that away now, ready for the next stage next week. What do you want again? Hey? I'm going to put a lock on this door.
Oh yeah, good. Keep me in.
I'm going to prepare the front for the bung now, and just using an embroidery ring, I've marked my circle, stitched 2 pieces of fabric together around that circle and cut the inner piece out, and I've clipped it as well because I'm going to be turning this piece inside out. Once I've turned it inside out, I want to try and iron that seam flat before I turn it in. And you don't have to do a bung like this. This is just a decorative one for the bedroom, so I just thought I'll show you what I've done with the front, and then next week you'll see actually making up the full bung. If you're watching this and thinking, what is she talking about? What's a bung? They call them bungs. They're a window covering, but they're a piece of foam that push into the porthole, that just act as a curtain really, but it's like filling that porthole. Or a bung, as Adi calls it.
I thought a bung was what a professional football manager got for fixing a game. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bung or a bung.
Bung, because you're from Nottingham.
No, I'm not. Anyway, back to what I'm doing. I'm doing a bit of patchwork on this on this one. Just using some small bits of fabric. Some are scraps and some are pieces I've actually cut to size. And all you do, it's a rectangle, you turn the top in and then fold it into a triangle. So I'm folding that top bit in and then bringing the sides down. Don't worry about the bit that's left at the end. You're not going to see it anyway, but you can cut it off if you want. Sorry about all the hissing in the background while I'm recording this, because we're doing it as a voiceover, because I've speeded up all the footage. The laptop isn't liking the size of this movie that I'm making, so it's hissing at us every time I put the mic on. Once I've got all my pieces done, I'll make some more later on, but I've done quite a lot. I can start putting them together on the actual main fabric, and I've just used a sample piece that I've ordered somewhere along the line, and so instead of wasting them, I use them for all my patchwork. So I laid it in the middle. So that's going to be the background, and then I start layering all the little triangle bits that I've done, stitching them at the very point, and then just putting a stitch around the outside edge to hold them down. Right, Grandad's back, so he can have a go. Right, Grandad, you going to have a go at covering the button?
Yeah. Are these all the same size?
Yeah.
So you've got like a front and a back?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I just ripped them open. So.
I'll save them. Right.
And that is a really good size to cut your fabric out.
So I draw around that then?
And draw around that.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cut that out.
Cut it out. Don't have to be dead precise. Don't worry if you're half a millimetre out, Grandad.
I will.
So these buttons are for this size.
Right.
So if you just put your fabric over the...
Just lay it on top?
Yeah. And just have a check that it's sort of like near enough equal all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is where your fingers might get in the way, but you're going to push that button down into that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's easy to choose the end of with these scissors to have something to poke the button down.
Alright.
Yeah, but have a go at just pushing that down.
My sausage fingers.
Yeah. That's it, yeah. So if you... Now, can you see that there's not that much fabric there, a bit too much there? Yeah. I would do that again so you have...
Pull it out?
Yeah. Because if you have only a little bit going over, it quite often pulls out. You see the frayed.
So go that way a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. It moves a bit when you go in, so it's just a matter of getting it right. It looks like it might be a bit too far over now. Lift your button up a bit. Right, now try. That's better. That's a lot better. Yeah. That's it. Now you can use the end of the scissors if you want. So you start bringing the fabric over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sort of like hooks on them spikes. Really push it in. Yeah, and if you feel that your fingers are in the way, you can just use the scissors and sort of push it right near the... That's it. Watch me scissors.
Is that right?
Yeah. Then you put your little cap on.
So without slit there.
Yeah. So you make sure that it's that way up with the edge, and the groove is at the top, and then this little metal thing's got to go through the middle.
That way.
Yeah. Can you see it goes through the middle of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. And so you just leave it there,
Right.
and you get the other end of this little plastic gadget.
That one.
So it's that one. So that sits in that groove. And it's easier to do it because this will be in the way. It's easier to do it. Yeah, sorry, I've just knocked your button. Right. Yeah, so it's easier to... That's it.
Like that?
Yeah, and then you just push it down till it clicks. That's it.
Yeah.
And then I like sort of like push it all the way. Just push it like that to make it just... Make sure it's all gone round the edge.
Right.
Yeah. That's your button done.
We'll do, but
Pop it out.
Ooh. Grandad.
Simple, aren't they?
Good, aren't
These dead cheap, but they're really handy. I used to make hundreds and hundreds of little covered buttons and rouleau hoops for wedding dresses, and I used to sit and do them by hand. I was mad. Right, I'm trying to rig up a camera here so I haven't got to hold it or balance it on the table because it just gets knocked all the time. So we'll see how this records. 4 sets of curtains on the boat all together, but I'm just going to talk through just the one set. I've chose this fabric for the saloon, the dinette and the galley, and the blinds and the curtains. So I've already done the lining on all of those, and double turned it and machine stitched it. So all the linings are prepared for all the curtains. On this video, I'm going to get to the stage of all the curtains being done up to the heading, and then all the headings can be done in next week's video. So the same with the curtains as what I did with the blinds. I've cut the fabric, adding the extra length for a double turnover hem and the extra 2 centimeters at the side seams and the 2 centimeters just at the top. I think I only added about 1 centimeter on these ones by the look of it for the top, probably to get the pattern match. When you've got a big pattern match, it's try and just work your curtain to fit that pattern match, and then you don't waste so much fabric.
Oh, I'm slipping away, so don't let me go. Nah, 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 nah. I'm all up in that love haze, so where do we go now? Nah? Just let me know that I am safe here in your arms. I wanna stay. I'm slipping away, so don't let me go now. Your love is exceptional, it fills me up.
Once I've got the hem pinned up and the sides turned in, I can place the lining. So I'm making sure that the hem that's turned up, so the wrong side of the lining is going onto the wrong side of the fabric. So you've got the 2 hems that you've turned up touching each other. Then I just get it all pinned into place. Now, because I've done this a lot, I can sort of see where I'm putting these pins and everything, but it is best to have the fabric stretched out on a table and just put pins all the way along so you know that your lining is sitting flat against your fabric. You can see that the lining turnover is a little bit bigger than the fabric turnover, which you don't want because you'll see that through the light when the curtain's hanging up. So make sure that your lining turnover is smaller than the turnover of your fabric. So I've just cut a little bit off, and then it sits a lot better, and it'll look better when they're hanging up. Also, sometimes it's better to get rid of the selvage, especially on lining, because it's quite tight. So sometimes it can cause ripples in your fabric because that edge is far too tight for the rest of the fabric. So I've pinned it all the way across, so I know that everything is going to hang right.
But I love the rush, yeah. Oh, it overflows.
On some of the curtains I've done a mitered corner, so I'm just showing you how I did that mitered corner, but on these curtains I'm not doing a mitered corner. So the creases down the side seam and the bottom of the hem are determining where you put your mitered corner. So you're using those creases to help you as a guideline where to lay. So you're laying the side crease against the bottom of the crease, the bottom of the hem, and then it all folds up. It's quite hard to see it on this because I'm not using this hem corner on these curtains. It's a little bit difficult to show it, but next week I'll show you on a different piece of paper or a different piece of fabric. So this is the one I'm doing. It's just a simple, just turning the edge, and it's only because I felt that it worked better with this fabric. It doesn't matter which one you use, you're not going to see it. It was just the mitre sort of gets rid of a lot of the bulk. I'm also thinking about putting some weights in the hem, so I am going to leave a little gap to slide some in if I need to. Also, I'm not sure if I need magnets yet. I don't think we do, because they're going to be tucked into the rail at the bottom. Once I've got my corners in place, it's then just a case of getting it all stitched up. Now I fold my hem backwards and do a slip stitch through the hem, and then when it comes through the top of the fabric, I just catch it slightly. So all I'm doing is going through just one little thread on the top, on the main fabric, and then going into the hem and doing a longer stitch inside the hem. So it's just folded over and then slip stitched along. So from the right side, you only see, if you look really carefully, one little catch from one little thread. Again, it's quite time consuming when you first started, but once you've got used to it, you'll just fly by, and it's quite therapeutic. I think it's I do quite like hand hemming. Now, it was all quite relaxing doing this, and Grandad was on the phone to the forgotten what he's called, BSS man, to see if he can come next week or week after to do our BSS. But he's on holiday, so he said he can come now. So it was let's stop everything and get everything else that we needed to do for the BSS that we haven't done yet. Luckily, we've got everything actually on the boat, and it was just a case of getting everything stuck on and attached to walls and everything. We just managed to get everything put on walls and everything put up that we needed to do. Open all the little boxes we got to reveal all the gas pipe run and everything that needed to be done for the BSS, just as he pulled up. And he was here, he'd done a thorough job, and really nice chap. Took our money, and we passed with flying colours. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a future vlog, but that's one more worry off our mind, done and dusted. So a bit more sweaty after all the running around and quickly trying to tidy up. It was back to the hemming, and again, going back to the hemming, if you take your time doing it and keep your stitches loose, it'll all look neat and tidy. So from this side you don't see the hem, even though the lining's going to cover it, you won't see the stitching. And then on this side, unless you look really carefully, you can't see any of the little catches where the hem's held up. The line that you do see is just the crease.
Show me your soul, baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul, honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine.
So all that's left to do is stitch up the side seams. So I'm just using a slip stitch again, just catching under, same as what I did with the blind. Quite easy, and just again makes it all lie nice and neat when it's hanging. So this is where I'll leave it today, and next week I'll do all the headings on and all the bits for the blinds and the curtains. So see you then.
Shamelessly displaying my state of mind, but you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see.